Avoidant men are the worst porn addicts. I was an avoidant man, and I was addicted to pornography for 15 years. I've been clean for 8 years now. I have helped over 1,500 men quit porn. Most of them were avoidant as well. In this video, I'm going to show you a simple solution that we've been using to fix avoidant attachment and pornography addiction at the same time. My name is Sathiya Sam. I'm a men's transformation coach, a former university researcher, and an author. And I've dedicated the last 6 years of my life to helping men quit pornography addiction. So you might be wondering, what exactly is the connection between attachment theory, something that's a lot more about relationships and bonding, and pornography, something that has a lot more to do with raw pleasure and masculine energy? But if we get into the deeper realms of both attachment issues, especially avoidant attachment and pornography addiction, what we find is these are two different plants that basically stem from the same root. Now, let's go through each of these really quick, okay? Avoidant attachment is when you have a person whose tendency in relationships is to avoid intimacy, avoid bonding, avoid connection. Now, it's not that they don't want connection. In fact, they crave connection. They really want the connection, but they've learned as a kind of a coping mechanism or through some difficult experiences, or they had their heart broken, they've learned that intimacy and close connection is scary. There's a price to be paid for it, and that price probably isn't worth it. So it's better to be avoidant. Now, that doesn't mean that they're negligent or neglectful, although it could mean those things. But a majority of avoidant men are actually friendly and they're personable. And you think, man, this is a great guy. But then as you get deeper into the relationship, all of a sudden, at some point, you hit a wall. There's no depth. And I'll tell you, when I was addicted to pornography, a piece of feedback I used to always get from my girlfriends was, I can't connect with you. I don't feel like I know you. You don't share anything personally. And I always thought that's so strange. I feel like I'm telling you everything. But for them, they weren't able to access the deeper parts of me because I wouldn't let them. And to be honest, I was kind of numb to them myself. So I didn't even really know that they were there. So I thought I was doing my part and she was just being needy or complaining, when in reality, because I couldn't access those deeper parts of myself, we couldn't have a connection. And I basically wound up being the prototypical avoidant man. Pornography addiction, the other side of this equation. A lot of people reduce pornography addiction to dopamine and pleasure and bad habits. But I've worked with thousands of men. In fact, I've personally worked with 1,500 men, but another 10,000 have been through my deep clean recovery system. And I will tell you that if we were to really boil down what porn addiction is at its core, it is an intimacy disorder. Every single person I've helped with pornography addiction has some sort of intimacy dysfunction that is stopping them from connecting with other people, not even a romantic partner, just other people, friends, family, colleagues, or God in a way that's actually meaningful, personable, and emotional in nature. And this is why porn addiction and avoidant attachment actually have a lot in common. Because at their core, if we boil down porn addiction and avoidant attachment to that one root that they both have in common, that root is called intimacy. And it is a fear of intimacy, a lack of intimacy, an inability to experience intimacy that drives both attachment issues and pornography addiction. Now, here's the good news. The good news is if we can resolve the root, we can take care of both at the same time. And I've seen this happen a ton. A lot of our clients, we focus on helping them quit pornography, but because we have a roots-based approach, when they start to heal in these deeper arenas, their attachment issues start to get a lot better as well. They connect more meaningfully with their wife, or they start to have stronger friendships, or even within our own community, they start to share more openly. They build better relationships, and it's really powerful to see how that can help them in the recovery process and in their overall quality of life. So if you follow what I'm going to lay out here today, not only will you be able to break free of pornography addiction, you should also be able to experience better relationships in your life. Now, to heal intimacy issues, there's two things that we need to understand. The first thing we need to understand is what causes intimacy issues. Okay. And what causes intimacy issues is relationships, unmet needs, unmet expectations, hurt, disappointment, betrayal, breakups, etc., etc. Now, if a relationship can cause us to experience attachment issues, then it's also relationships that heal our attachment issues, which means that a therapist can't really heal your attachment issue because when you form a relationship with them, that's not a real friendship. It's not a real romantic partnership. It's not anything that's actually going to give you the experiential knowledge that you need to heal from your attachment issues. Now, you can still have a lot of benefit from seeing a therapist. It's just that in of itself is going to be incomplete. To truly heal from an intimacy issue, you need to actually start to experience healthy intimacy. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Now, the other thing that you need to understand is what the heck is intimacy? Okay, intimacy has the definition right in the word. I love words like this. Intimacy is into me, see. So when we talk about you healing from intimacy issues or starting to experience more intimacy, we're talking about two layers. And the first layer is you accessing the deeper parts of you, what you're feeling, why you're feeling it, the thoughts you're thinking, the fears, the insecurities, the paranoias, the concerns, the beliefs. The better we can understand your inner life, the greater your capacity is for intimacy. You cannot wait for somebody else to access those parts for you. You have to build the skill yourself. Now, in recovery, we call this self-awareness. This is about building an understanding of your inner life. And the two fastest ways to build self-awareness is to have another friend that you trust, that you can speak to openly with, and talk to them every single week for at least 15 minutes. Or if you want to do it solo, get a journal and start asking yourself every day, what am I feeling and what am I thinking? As you start to build an understanding of your inner life, you can now invite other people in. And when other people come in is when you can start to experience intimacy because into you they will see. The reason that my ex-girlfriends said that they couldn't relate with me or they couldn't connect with me was because, as I said, I didn't know about these parts of me. I had learned to suppress and numb like a really good avoidant person does, to the point that I didn't know they existed. So I had to be vulnerable, I had to be humble, and I had to be willing to explore these deeper inner parts of me. And as I did, I started to realize, number one, it wasn't that scary, it wasn't that bad. But number two, I was actually starting to understand myself better, and I could make better decisions as a result. But the best part was when I started to get into romantic relationships again, and when I met the woman who is now my wife, and we started to get to know each other more personally, she actually could access those deeper parts of me, the parts of me that are necessary to form healthy romantic relationships. Now, I built this skill while I was trying to quit pornography. While I was in recovery, I gained a better understanding. I increased my self awareness, increased my capacity for intimacy. And then when I got into a relationship, I was ready to go to these deeper arenas. The other thing that happens when you do this is you start to have capacity for other people to share openly as well. See, this is another thing that a lot of avoidant men run into is not only do they not share openly themselves because they can't access it or they're afraid of getting hurt, but they also don't want you to go too deep because if you go too deep, they're going to feel uncomfortable. The relationship's going to be unbalanced. They can't match it. Or in general, they're just going to have a disdain for deeper, more intimate and personal kind of sharing. So when we're talking about you healing from your intimacy dysfunction and the things that you've experienced in the past, what we're talking about is accessing these deeper parts, letting other people access those deeper parts, and then you accessing other people's deeper inner parts, their emotions, their concerns, their fears, their worries, and not feeling overwhelmed by it, not feeling burdened by it, and not feeling afraid of it. Now, if you go through this process, again, it's actually very simple. It just takes time and effort and consistency, and it happens gradually, okay? It's not like one day you just wake up and you cured this intimacy disorder. But if you do this consistently, even for the next 30 days, you will start to see a shift. And the result is you're going to feel more comfortable in your own skin. You're going to be more secure. And you're going to have better conversations with your friends or with your loved ones or your family members. And those better conversations are going to lead to better connection. Now, the reason this is so important is because if you are experiencing quality relationships, you're going to move away from avoidant attachment tendencies. You're going to step into a more secure place. And if you're having better quality relationships, we know that the opposite of addiction is not sobriety, it's connection. And so those more meaningful connections actually start to satisfy your heart, which means you're less likely to gravitate towards things like pornography that kind of replace these relationship dysfunctions. So let's put a little game plan together. Okay, if you want to heal from your intimacy disorder, which is going to help you with your pornography addiction and your avoidant attachment style, what we want to do is first, we want to build more access to your inner life. So you're going to do that by talking to somebody that you love and trust weekly or journaling every single day. The second thing you're going to do is you're going to invite other people in. So that person that you're talking to or a loved one or a really close friend, you're going to start being more transparent, more vulnerable in your conversations with them and giving them a chance to access those deeper parts of you. And then you're going to get good at asking questions back and learning to access those deeper parts of the people that you love, your friends, your coworkers, your romantic partners, whoever it might be. And if you can piece all of this together, go bit by bit, one step at a time, you'll see things shift really quickly. So if you want more help and more resources to quit pornography and to improve your overall quality of life, check out my website. The link's in the description. There's a free newsletter you can opt into, and you can get a free copy of my book, The Last Relapse, my gift to you. In the meantime, if you like this video, make sure you like it and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one.